Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week, we dive into the career of a legendary women's wrestler, one of the trailblazers of modern Western women's wrestling. We're looking at Deborah Ann Michelli, a.k.a. Madusa, a.k.a. Alundra Blayze.
Yes, sir. An absolute trailblazer, as Evan said before. Someone who probably should have been covered on this podcast a little sooner, considering we're like a lot closer to 200 than I think.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we'll be hitting 200 by the end of the calendar year. So.
Yeah, which is a little scary.
It's a little weird.
And also, it's just really fucking good. Good wrestling in the 90s. That's what good old Madusa did.
That's true. And I think people kind of just know, if you're a modern wrestling fan, you really haven't gone back and done the dives. You're like, oh, I heard the name Madusa or Alundra Blayze. Like she shows up around the women's division. You know, she always gets name checked by the current women's wrestlers. So she's probably like good. You don't know how good she was. You don't get it until you go see it. And this cross-section match that we have, because we take a wrestler and we watch their career through 5 of their most important matches. And this cross-section, really good. Yes, we all talk about one promo, and the promo this week is fascinating.
Yes, it's one of the most iconic moments in arguably wrestling history.
I mean, at least that ever happened on a Monday. That's for damn sure. So that's part of the Monday Night War, baby. Before we dive into everything, make sure that you aren't already, you should be checking out our YouTube channel. You should be going there for very funny wrestling shorts, for wonderful wrestling videos. We just did a new gimmick where we take a random stipulation and have to make our dream card based on that stipulation. The stipulation this week was only second and third generation wrestlers, and we had to take some historical matches. Javier, shout out one of the matches you used.
One of the matches that I used was my opener, which was Brett versus Owen, WrestleMania 10.
My randomest match probably is third generation superstar Randy Orton and Cactus Jack Backlash 2004. See how we built cards around those. YouTube.com at Crossbody of Work. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, hi, and subscribe and like. All of those things helps us out tremendously. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, rate 5 stars, subscribe. All those things help us out as we continue to grow. The boys are on the road to WrestleMania. That's what we're saying. We're on the road to WrestleMania, and we need to keep growing.
Hint, 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 hint.
Hint, hint. So, what did you know about Madusa pre this episode?
Pre this episode, I've seen a couple of her matches from when she was over in Japan. She had a bunch of matches with, especially after the Manami Toyota episode, to be honest, just because I went and watched a lot of Manami Toyota matches.
Yep.
And a bunch of them were with Madusa, like just tag matches that involved Madusa, or just she had a pair, I think, of singles matches with Madusa. And you know, she's good. She's fucking good.
She's really good. I knew about the promo. I knew about that.
Yeah.
I knew that for a while she was the only thing in the women's division in both companies, in both WWF and WCW. Like she was truly the linchpin of like the only thing holding it together in both companies.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. Like you don't really see that kind of at any point in wrestling with the women's division, because if you think about it, like women's wrestling was in the bin for a long time there, but I feel like, you know, when there was Trish around, there was also Lita, you know,
and then when there wasn't Lita as much, there was like the next gen was in like, you know,
it was
Victoria
Mickey James
and Gail
and it was like Michelle McCool came in, and Beth Phoenix, Natalia came around at the same time. Like there was always like, you know, more than one person. Like the only time you can ever really think that there was one may have been during the Attitude Era with Ivory, but like even then there was Jacqueline.
There was Sable, there was Luna Vachon, like there were other people around. And yes, I did very gingerly throw Sable into that mix. She was there. She did do things. The wrestling.
She was featured.
Also, shout out to, because I can see the pod stats every week. So, whoever last week went and listened to the Sable episode, there were 2 of you. Shout out to both of you for the deep dive. I think you were part of the set of people who went and did a lot of women's wrestling, because there were a lot of listens to some of our older women's wrestling.
Hey, one of them may have just been Brock Lesnar.
That's true. Support your wife. Also, Brock, I'm so scared of you. All right, so Deborah Ann Michelli wrestled under her professional name of Madusa, which, do you know the origin of Madusa?
I don't. It's not even how Madusa is spelled, so I don't even know why.
Because it's not Madusa like the mythological figure who turns people to stone. It's shortened from Made in the USA. Madusa. I was annoyed too, so I'm so glad you're having this reaction. Yeah. You need another camera to look into like Jim on The Office. That's what you need right now. You need a second. Yeah, exactly. There you go. So, yes, she was sort of made in the USA. Madusa off to a hot start as a wrestler. 1988 was the first woman to be awarded PWI's Rookie of the Year.
Ooh.
Yeah, very exciting. And one of the matches that led to that official designation was this match from Super Clash 2, May 2nd, 1987. She's challenging Sherri Martel for the AWA Women's Championship. It is always weird in my experience to see sensational Sherri wrestling because she's such a good manager and was in that role for so long that my brain's like, oh yeah, you did wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, we also, when we saw her by that point, I think she was pretty much kind of done with the in-ring stuff. She would get in there from time to time.
She could take a bump.
Yeah, but she wasn't really like an active competitor or anything like that. By the time
she was J&J Security, you know?
Yeah, she was J&J Security. She was at best whatever the fuck Sanjay Dutt's doing in AEW.
that's actually a really good comp. So yeah, it is interesting to see Sherri Martel, who is the women's champion here. Madusa comes out. She's got the intense hair. She's got the big white coat. The hair's massive. It's very 80s.
It's so 80s in her. She looks like a fifth member of Duran Duran, and I'm pretty sure there's only two members of Duran Duran.
She's like next down the lineage, like Ancestry.com of Duran Duran.
She's the fourth. She's a third generation Duran Duran. She's also dressed like an 80s workout video. Yes. Like she's just wearing like tights and like spandex over the tights, and it's like it looks, or spandex under the tights, like a leotard with like the spank suit underneath. And it's like, oh, this is an 80s workout video. I'm ready to hear, she's a maniac. Oh, no.
I thought you were about to pull out some Olivia Newton-John and get physical. What a bop that is. Shout out to Olivia Newton-John. What do you think of the contest here?
This is decent. I don't know. It's great hair work from Sherri Martel.
It's so annoying.
It's good white meat babyface stuff from Madusa, but like I think as far as the action itself goes, I mean, you're not going to get much of that here.
No, but it's all character work here. Sherri screaming, she's out of the ring. She's also out here accompanied by pretty boy Doug Summers, who I've never heard of,
and isn't very pretty.
I do love the like ironic nicknames. You know, like
he just kind of looks like, honestly, he just looks like Bobby Heenan.
Bobby Heenan was a pretty boy.
No, come on, man.
When he was younger.
Come on, man.
Now, Sherri is, like we said, healing it up, screaming at the fans who taunted her with the Sherri sucks chant. Madusa is able to get some big moves. Big shove sends Sherri flying. Another one sends her to the outside. If you see it, Madusa's ripped.
And she's so like her whole career was really like that. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. She had like a really like Pilates instructor build.
Yeah, where like there's just clear muscle definition, but she's not huge. You know what I mean?
She's wide, but she's like slender.
Yeah, and strong. Like, clearly very fucking strong. It's crazy.
It's weird. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like she's clearly like she can absolutely deadlift 3 times my PR. But also, she's skinny as all hell.
I want to talk about the location because we were at the Cow Palace, one of the best wrestling venues of all time out there in San Francisco.
Yep.
What is your favorite moment at the Cow Palace? Because I know what it is, even if you don't remember.
Oh.
I know what your favorite moment at the Cow Palace is.
What is it?
It takes place in 2004 at No
Way Out. Eddie?
It's Eddie beating Brock.
I was thinking that, but I was like, was that the Cow Palace?
It was.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
It's only my second favorite moment in wrestling history.
Yeah, it was so good. I remember watching it. It was so good. So we get some big forearms to the chest of Sherri, a snapmare with her hair. Test of strength. Madusa gets the upper hand until Sherri headbutts her in the ribs, which that's kind of hurt.
It wasn't even the ribs. It was like honestly the chest. She's just like chest headbutt. She's just boom.
Very Zinedine Zidane of you.
Oh no! Why did you have to bring up a childhood trauma like that? I was 8 years old watching that World Cup. Zidane was my favorite player. Still is my favorite player of all time. And when he did that and got sent off, legitimately I started crying. I wasn't even a French. Like the French weren't even my favorite team. I did not like Real Madrid. I just remember because we had freaking all the Spanish channels, so like Real Madrid games will play all the time.
Yeah,
and Zidane was on Madrid at the time,
and he's really
so
good.
I liked watching him play, and he became my favorite player. And then he did that in his literal last game and retired after. And I'm like, well, my life is ruined. And then Messi came about a year later.
What a way to go out! Very weird dropkick by Sherri. Doesn't look like she connects properly. Locks in a camel clutch / chin lock, whatever you want to call it there.
It's not great.
Forearms to the back by Sherri. Madusa gets a step over toe hold, rolls through it.
Yeah, it looked weird.
And then does it again from the other corner. It's very, very strange.
Suplex for a near fall.
And a giant knee to the face by Madusa.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It looked like it hurt.
Sherri gets a head scissor hold on. Madusa hits a body slam for a near fall.
Can we talk about the head scissors where Madusa is legitimately like, if she just extends her arm, she would be touching the ropes? Not even. Yeah. Like if she just went from like fully against her body to out like a normal person,
45-degree angle.
Yeah, she would be touching the rope, but she just doesn't.
Nah,
it's a weird choice.
We don't have to. Hey, it's wrestling, man. Running clothesline for a near fall. And then she does some corner shots. Then she does an airplane.
Yeah,
airplane spin. She does it for probably 6, 7, 8 rotations.
That's pretty good.
Does a little quick slam, but the ref gets distracted, Evan.
Pretty boy. Doug's here. You don't see a lot of babies named Doug nowadays, but Doug's here.
I can't believe that Doug got a shout out on that Chris Brown and T-Pain song.
Sorry?
You remember Kiss
Kiss? Oh my God,
Nappy
yeah.
Boy,
and Pretty Boy.
Pretty Boy.
Pretty Boy Doug Summers was exactly who they were talking about. Doug Summers with the interference. Madusa goes up to Summers to knock him off the apron. Sherri does the roll up, holds a little bit of the tights, and retains. I said that if you speed this match up a little and clean up a little bit of Sherri's offense, it would fit nowadays. It'd be
honestly,
a fine match.
Sherri's the one that kind of brings us down a little bit.
Definitely. Sherri's she's not crisp. Her heel work's tremendous. She's not crisp. Whereas Madusa is very clean.
Not at all.
Aside from the toe hold thing, like that, the only thing that I was like, that's kind of weird. Everything else Madusa did was really good.
Yeah. But that leads us to things that are very clean and very chaotic. Evan, what's the next match here?
Oh, this is very exciting. I just want to let you know that she did at one point win the AWA Women's Championship. When Sherri retired, she won a tournament.
And she could only win it when Sherri retired.
That's true. But then lost the title to Wendy Richter in November of 1988. But let's move ahead into the 90s. It is All Japan Wrestling, July 1990, and we have a 6-woman tag, and it is stacked. Madusa is teaming with Manami Toyota and Suzuka Minami to go up against Aja Kong, Bull Nakano, and Bison Kimura. 2 3 falls.
All right, this is if our reactions were any sort of giveaway, this is absolutely the match that I recommend for this week.
This match is nuts.
This is a great match.
We've talked about this before, specifically covering Manami Toyota. The fact that this existed in women's wrestling in the 90s, and it took WWE till the mid-2010s to figure their shit out with women's wrestling is abhorrent. Just
when three of these people
at these women, just
3 of these people were in WWE, wasn't it? It was
Bull Nakano has made it to
WWE.
Nakano. Yeah.
And wasn't Aja Khan? Didn't she have a?
She had I believe, a cup of coffee there.
Yeah, and Alundra Blayze, obviously. So 3 of these women were in WWE at one point. 2 of them had a match at a SummerSlam. We'll get to that.
We sure will get to that.
And still,
this match is so hard hitting, is so brutal, and I honestly, the amount of sympathy I have for the babyfaces through this match is intense. Like, they are so outmatched in terms of intensity and just size, but they bring the heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they have Manami Toyota, so.
And and that's the thing is they have Manami. They have, without argument, the best wrestler in the match. But
And she's not even. She's only like a couple years in. Maybe it's 90, so she's not even at her like. She doesn't get to her like run until like 93, 94.
Yeah, but she's like Sauce Gardner and immediately steps in and is like, I'm top
Yeah.
2. Like, just get out of my way.
She's Justin Jefferson. She steps
She's
in.
Jay
And she's
Jettas.
just like, I'm number 1. I'm the best wide receiver in the universe, possibly ever.
These 3 on each side just stand face to face until the bell rings, and I kind of like that. It's very Civil War.
It's very end of a War Games match where everyone has to step on each side of the ring.
Yeah, very much like that. To go through bit by bit would be crazy. I think we will not do anything justice. I think that this is without a doubt the match to watch for just pure in-ring action this week.
Yes. Also, if you could, honestly, don't even watch this on the regular speed. Slow it down to like 0.75.
Yeah, really get everything because they're really
fast.
Now, let's talk about it. So it's a 2 to 3 falls match. Obviously, we go 3 falls because that's how these go. In the first fall, give me a spot you liked.
You know what I really liked? I like how in the beginning, so as they're like doing the face off, the bell rings and the 2 heels on the sides, I think it's Kimura and maybe Aja Kong, do like pump kicks to the other 2 baby faces in front of them, and then Nakano just fucking starts blasting the hell out of Manami Toyota.
Yeah.
And then they just basically pick off Manami Toyota from the group.
They immediately pick her off because Aja and Nakano are running show on Toyota, like double shoulder block, big standing splashes. Kimura gets a big clothesline, but Manami Toyota keeps bridging out of pins.
Which she does a lot.
It's her favorite thing to do.
She does that a lot. Bison did it a few times this match. She does like this running chop. Like running, jumping chop, which is so fun. Yeah. I really like it. She does it very well. It's very chaotic. She's got like a mad woman gimmick. I know nothing about Bison Kimura, and after this match, I think she's the one I'm most intrigued by.
I think I want to do an episode on Bison Kimura. Yeah. Madusa does get in for a little bit during the first fall. Sunset flip of Nakano, but she can't land the pin. Big shoulder block, goes for a suplex, but Nakano is way too strong. She does hit a double suplex with Toyota, but Kong gets a foot on the ropes. The big thing I want to talk about with the first fall, Bull Nakano is just allowed to have nunchucks.
What? Yeah, I didn't know that this was a no DQ match because later on in the match there are weapons introduced as well, and I'm like, what is going on here? When did this happen?
You tried to disqualify Bull Nakano. You see how that goes for you.
I mean, you tried to disqualify Bull Nakano and Aja Kong.
That's a bad time. You're going to have a bad time.
You could be Brock Lesnar. I'd still be a little concerned.
Absolutely not. I am out. The first pinfall after that is on Manami when Bull hits a diving leg drop. And that's it. And that's the first fall. And then it's so cold. Nakano just walks over, gets some water on the ropes. I'm like...
yeah, because they like stop. They take like a little short rest break in between falls.
Gets a little hydration station.
You know, Jesus Christ. The worst thing, so as the people may know, the boys got a Peloton. And
where's this going?
And so like when you take like a class or something, there are some people, there's specifically one like instructor in one of the core classes, not one, in a bunch of classes, that her name is Allie Love. And anytime we're like, oh, we're on flat road, it's rest time. By the way, flat road basically just means you're pushing at fucking 35 for distance and trying to get to like 80, which is terrible after you just came off of like a fucking crazy push. And she's just like, okay, everyone, hydration station, as I'm fucking drenched in sweat and I have 10 seconds to drink my water and also catch my breath.
I can't get over that name. She's in the wrong industry.
Oh, okay.
Come on now. All right, second fall. Manami and Bull Nakano starting the match. What's a spot you like in the second fall?
In the second fall, my favorite thing about this match happens pretty early on in the second fall is when I realized that the heels aren't even cutting off the ring. They want the baby faces tagging in and out. They don't give a fuck. They're just gonna mess them all up.
They don't care who's in.
We get some pump kicks by Nakano to Toyota that are pretty cool. Kimura, again, she's just like a psycho. Like that's her whole gimmick because she does like these hair tosses. She does like a body slam and then goes full like she starts screaming in her face while like honestly the way I described it, I rationalized it in my head. She's like the witch from Left 4 Dead. Where like
Oh
you
yeah,
don't want to piss her off because when you do, once
jumps
that
on
bell
you.
rings, she's fucking coming at your ass.
I honestly, aside from NBA Street Volume 2, I think the game I have the most played hours in is Left 4 Dead, the original.
Oh, mine.
Like,
Oh, the most hours played is easily Skyrim for me, probably.
oh, that's good.
Like across all of the times it's released, especially the first iteration of it that I had on 360. But like Skyrim, I put honestly, I might have put like 2 months of gameplay into that at least.
Honestly, there was a time in, I want to say like grade 9 or 10, where I would straight up get home from school. My best friend would come over. We would do like 2 hours of Madden NFL head coach and try to rebuild the Dolphins. Where I
Why
did
the
the
Dolphins?
because they were an awful team. So we're like, let's try to fix them. And I did the defense, he did the offense, and then we play like 4 hours of Left 4 Dead because we were pissed off about the Dolphins. We'd be like, why can't we move the ball?
Well, I fixed the fucking defense. You fixed the offense.
It's Ronnie Brown or nothing. All right. So Aja Kong has a fucking metal bread box.
Yeah. First off, where did the bread box come from? Is there bread? Can I have a piece?
And I have some. And she is smashing people with it. Bull with a pile driver to Toyota, and then a bunch of the other girls get in the ring to stomp on Toyota. We get a diving leg drop missed by Nakano, and a different set of girls come in to stomp on her. I don't understand. This is all
this
after
is
the
like a
second fall.
babyface group. There's like a babyface group here that's like coming in and Goomba stomping the heels every once in a while.
So the second fall happens before that. That's my bad, because I was just reading about the metal box.
Damn it.
I know she has the box and breaks up some tag work by Toyota and Minami. And then Madusa accidentally crossbodies Toyota. But in the chaos, Toyota flips Kimura into a pin for the second fall.
Yes,
which
sir.
is the only way the babyface are going to get a pin here is through complete and utter nonsense.
Bullshit. Yes, we get container shots. The group of mass horde of people come, lay their boots to Nakano. And then the three baby faces all have a heel, a hold on one of the three heels at one point. Like the sharpshooter, I think Boston Crab, stuff like that. The Nakano does one of the best looking sharpshooters I have ever seen in my life.
It's the deepest sharpshooter, but also shout out to Minami Toyota for being flexible enough to have her heel like touch the top of her head.
Yeah.
That's the real MVP there.
If you haven't, go listen to our Minami Toyota episode. It's basically just an hour and some change of us absolutely praising the GOAT.
Yeah, it's an hour and a bit of me being like, this exists? This is crazy. And Javier being like, I know.
He's so good.
In terms of Madusa during the last fall, she doesn't get to do a lot. I think she has the least
She
ring
kicks
time.
Nakano in the face, and Nakano doesn't move.
Yeah, that's tough. It's a tough look.
She accidentally does a missile drop kick to Minami at one point here. Yep. But aside from that, yeah, you're right. I don't have anything in my notes about her aside from the kick to the face and that missile drop kick accident.
The other thing is, after that accidental dropkick, we go to the outside. Kimura and Minami are brawling. Aja Kong and Madusa are brawling, and Madusa gets hit with a chair. Aja Kong does not care about disqualification.
She throws the chair.
Yeah. John Cena's the stairs to Bray Wyatt, like that. But
it's true.
God, I love that gif.
Kong, they're back into the ring. Kong power slams Toyota for a near fall. She then goes up. She misses a splash. But Kimura is there to really hold things off. In the meantime, Toyota eats a chair shot, then gets a double flapjack onto the chair. And then we get to finish the match, which is just Aja Kong, top rope power slam, pretty much is what it is. 1, 2, 3, the heels win. It's kind of effortless for them, honestly.
This match existed in the year of our Lord 1990. There wasn't even a women's division in 1990 in WWF.
Is this the best match of 1990? Sure.
I'm sure there's somebody in the comments who's like, this match happened in 1990. We cover so many different years. I don't know when anything happened. I don't even know when I was born.
This is better. Was 1990 the Hogan WrestleMania 6? Was that 90?
I think so.
Was it 91? I don't remember.
1990 WrestleMania was 6, so it's
6?
Hogan Warrior.
This is better than Hogan Warrior. I don't give a fuck what you jabrones say.
I mean, you got to take that up with Edge. He was there in the crowd. All right, we're going to take a break. We get back. Madusa becomes Alundra Blayze. Back from the break. In 1993, WWF reinstated its Women's Championship, title that had been vacant since 1990. where we just were. And Madusa is brought into the company to revive the women's division. Nothing like being the tentpole of a division that doesn't exist. It's like being hired into a new division of a company, and they're like, "You're the only employee." Fuck.
So you mean to tell me I'm the only one doing data governance here?
She debuted under the ring name Alundra Blayze because WWF owner Vince McMahon did not want to pay Michelli to use the name Madusa, which she had trademarked. That sounds like Vince. Of course it does.
I fucking hate Vince, man.
Let's talk about...
Why didn't he just call her Madusa? Like, no Michelli, just Madusa.
Because I guess she had trademarked just Madusa.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense, then.
Yeah.
Or just call
Let's
her
talk about her WrestleMania match against Leilani Kai, WrestleMania 10 for the WWF Women's Championship. I thought it was interesting. The whole introduction of Blayze is interesting. She gets pyro. That's good.
Yes.
Her weight gets announced. Very different for how women's wrestling is treated nowadays.
I mean, she's a fucking brick house of a woman, even though she's very trim. It's weird. She's such a weird build.
She's so fucking strong and so pretty.
So
she's
strong.
She could just kill people.
Yes.
What do you think about
Atomic Blonde, truly.
What do you think about the original WWF Women's Championship?
It's very tiny.
It's funny because it looks
reminds me of the original like AEW women's title. Remember how tiny it was?
It looks right when worn on the waist. It looks fine, especially on but some of the other women that they would bring in to face up against Blayze would make that title look like a toy. It's like when Yokozuna held the WWF Championship, and everyone's like, "Is that a child's toy?"
Yeah, it's like, can you imagine if fucking Bull Nakano had to wear that title?
I do think that the design is really good.
Yes,
like for an early '90s title design, I was like, this is actually pretty good. The white strap.
We had the white strap IC title belt.
But that's starting. I just felt like the '90s as a design in general across not just wrestling, just society, we got really weird for a while. So I'm like, this one didn't like. It's not like a neon blue strap with like it doesn't look like a bus seat on the back.
I think you're just a hater. Also, Leilani Kai. This is my first Leilani Kai match. I did not think that's what she looked like at all.
What did you think she looked like?
When you hear the name Leilani Kai, do you expect anyone that isn't like a Pacific Islander looking person?
That is fair. Yeah. That's
like, I know one Leilani in my life, and she was from like the Philippines, I think.
Leilani Kai's real name, Patty Seymour.
What are we doing here, Vince?
Born in Tampa, Florida.
What the fuck are we doing here, Vince McMahon?
She wasn't named Leilani Kai by Vince. She was named it by the Fabulous Moolah.
Oh,
put your ire somewhere else, brother.
She looks like oh my god, why am I blanking on her name? What is Thelma and Louise? Who's the
Sigourney Weaver?
Is it Sigourney Weaver? Yes. No, it's not Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver's the one from Alien.
Susan Sarandon.
She looks like she looks like the Sheehan version of fucking the Wish version of
you could have just said she looks like a stronger version of Susan Sarandon. Because she looks stronger Susan Sarandon.
She looks like the Wish version of Susan Sarandon.
At this point, though, Kai is already like on the later half of her career.
Yeah, well, clearly.
Like so this is her return match to WWF. It was this match. She hadn't been in the WWF since 1989. And
I just have to stop you right there and ask. Let me ask you: do you think that fits my narrative?
No, not even a little bit.
So I will not accept this. Anyways, the match starts. Leilani Kai blows the fuck up out of like Madusa hits off the ropes and Kai just blows her up like a goddamn linebacker getting a running back.
Yeah, she's Terry Tate. It's fantastic. Blayze does get a sunset flip out of the corner for a 2. Blayze goes under Kai's legs in a very weird. This is not a scaffold match spot. Like I'm just thinking of the Skywalker's match that we covered with the Midnight Express,
where Jim Cornette breaks his knee.
Yes. Another sunset flip rollover for a 2. Kai with a lot of power moves. Kai has the height advantage. She has the strength advantage. Standing choke. But then Alundra Blayze with the Hurricane Rana for a 2. Frankensteiner.
Yeah, Jerry the King Lawler at one point is an absolute scumbag, by the way. And goes
at just one singular point?
Well, I mean, it was singular point in this match. Okay. and says about Alundra Blayze, $1 million body, 10-cent face. And I was like, well, that's just like so incredibly rude.
So incredibly rude.
And just not true. She's a very pretty woman.
She's a very pretty woman. And Jerry Lawler, I don't know.
I'd be too scared to even ask her out on a date, much less go on one with her.
I also think that Jerry Lawler was like just like king shit probably through. Well, I mean, he was king of Memphis, right, for so long that he's just like, I can say whatever I want. Especially this era of Lawler.
Vince didn't even react. He didn't even respond to it. He just let it slide. He just kept going, calling the match.
Do you have a friend that you like? They say so many things that you're so immune to them at this point. You're just like, yeah, sure.
It's like, me. I'm that friend.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I feel like that's how my wife treats me. Where I'll say something and she's just like immune to it now. She's like, sure. Did you pick up the paprika like we needed? And I'm like, oh yeah, I did. Thank you.
Oh, you actually remember? I would have forgotten about the paprika.
No, but I bought us a dog.
I would like to put a disclaimer here that Evan does not have a dog.
I do not have a dog. I don't have a yard, so I need a yard to have a dog. Big set of like hair snapmares by Kai. She tosses Blayze to the outside, brings her back in for another hair whip. Kai's offense is all shoulder blocks and hair whips. That's
and blowing people the fuck up yes. Like it's a goddamn Oklahoma drill. Anyways, Blayze, we get to the finish here. Blayze spinning heel kick, suplex, hair snapmares, and then she finishes off the match with a German suplex with a bridge for the win.
It's a good German suplex.
Yeah,
and it's a great looking one. I thought it was really excellent.
She really knows how to like. Most people just like kind of like they don't know like because they just can't do it. They don't round their back like an arch because they just can't. Like it's you try and fucking do it, you can't. But she's somehow able to like I guess maybe her chest like pops out a little more. And she's able to actually get the full rounding. So it looks like a fucking goddamn U every time she does it.
I would be broken in half if I attempted it. Michelli was asking WWF management like to bring in new women for her to wrestle. She I guess had some ideas of who she should bring in. And one of those names was Bull Nakano. So she was brought in mid-94 to the WWF roster and began feuding with Blayze. And that takes us to SummerSlam of 94. Alundra Blayze defending the title against Bull Nakano.
Because of this, Paige became a wrestler.
Because of this match?
Well, because of Bull Nakano being in WWF. So
I mean, that's fair, but also, I mean, she was born into a wrestling family.
Yeah, but she wanted to come over and be in WWE because of Bull Nakano.
Oh, okay, that tracks.
She's her favorite wrestler.
That's like if I was born to like the Steinbrenner family and I was like, you know what? I watched Alex Rodriguez play baseball and I want to be part of the Yankees. They're like, you are part of the Yankees, you son of a bitch.
It's the worst thing you have ever said to me on this podcast. Right.
All of it was terrible.
Not even like it's not even just the fact that you brought up the Yankees and the Steinbrenners and all those pieces of shit. But also you brought up A-Rod. The one of two Dominicans that I do not claim in this world are Alex Rodriguez and Manny Machado, and you brought up one of the two.
I figured they'd both be baseball related. All right, Nakano's with the classic big hair all the way straight up, pirate shirt blouse. Luna Vachon is her manager. She has her nunchucks. Like Bull Nakano brought the full package over from Japan.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like Vince told Cody when he debuted. I'm bringing you in for the whole thing.
The whole thing. The whole package.
Whole shebang.
And this is also what I would consider the classic Alundra Blayze gear. Like this is if Alundra Blayze is ever a DLC in a 2K game, like this is the gear she's in. It's the high neck, no sleeves with that's white base with flames on it that says Alundra Blayze. Like that's exactly what you think of with Alundra Blayze in WWF.
Yes, sir.
And honestly, it's a fit.
Yeah, I fucks with it. I don't know. Did you see? Speaking of the high neck, did you see that Christian posted on Twitter like a shirtless selfie, and he's cut to the core, and he's like, the reason why I wear turtlenecks anytime I wrestle is because I don't want to like embarrass everyone that I'm in the ring with, or something like that.
Christian he's
49.
Like, he's 49, and he is trying to be everyone's stepdad. Like I think that's the vibe he's going for.
I don't know about that one. I saw
that type of selfie. You're trying to be people's stepdads.
So my buddy who I went to Dynamite /Rampage with last night. We'll talk more about that later.
We will.
He like turns to me at one point because I guess they showed like a video package with like Nick Wayne was involved in it. It's like a backstage interview or whatever. It was like a whole group of thing. Anyways, and he goes, "Oh, they should pair Nick Wayne up with like Luchasaurus and not pair him up, like match him off against like Luchasaurus and Christian for the title. That'd be pretty cool." I go, "You want Nick Wayne to go and have a program with the guy who mentions dead fathers?"
It's a no from me, dog.
He's just turned 18. That brother doesn't need that trauma reopened.
Poor Nick Wayne. He already has to deal with having 2 first names. It's tough when people have 2 first names. It's harder when people have no first names. That's when I'm like, ooh.
Like what?
Jefferson
Davis.
Jefferson Davis.
Miles Morales is done.
I mean, I'll also say a friend of mine named one of their newborn, named them McKinley, and I'm like, that's not a name, that's a last name. There are people out there with the last name McKinley.
Interesting.
And yet here you are, and they're like, name's Mick, and I'm like, all right, sure,
all right, Fleetwood.
It's wrong. I also know that they will never ever listen to this podcast, so I am safe. All right. The kid, it's a very cute.
I'm about to take this podcast episode and send it to every single person that follows you on all social media platforms.
Perfect. That's exactly what I need. This match is really fun.
Yes. Alundra goes for a handshake right at the beginning of the match, thinking that this is a fight with honor. But this isn't one because Nakano says, "Fuck that," and beats the shit out of her.
This isn't ROH. This is CCW. She brought nunchucks. Doesn't give a fuck. What are we talking
about? This is FMW, brother.
Yeah.
Where's the C4?
Also, Nakano's colorful shirt rules. Like her actual ring gear, it's awesome.
Yes, brother, with the hair. Listen, the hair is crazy. I don't know how she manages to get it so straight that it stays like that without moving it. I know it's gel. It's just a shit fucking ton of gel and hairspray. But still, like, I want to know what her hair looks like now. Like, does she have to go bald at one point and then like regrow her hair so that it could be like normal?
Yeah, that's hard.
Think that after years of abusing your hair just like that, like my dad, at one point. Not even still, it's to this day, honestly, for the most part. My dad has like his hair is just permanently like. I guess your dad kind of has similar style of hair where he like slicks it back.
Yeah,
like kind of like a Italian goddamn father.
Yeah,
my dad has, but he did it with just gel. It was gel every day for like fucking 30 years, 40 plus years, whatever it's been. And it's just like permanently was in that. Even like he could have had. Not put gel on for a week and had like nothing but bedhead for like a week straight, and it still would have just been in that because it's.
You think Nakano wakes up with her hair just straight up? She's like a Sky Too Hottie hat for a bed.
Nah,
like the bed
at least like a little like a what is it, a cockatoo, like where it's just like kind of angled slightly.
So Blayze does some rights to the stomach that absolutely do not phase Nakano, and this is after Blayze hits an early drop kick and the second one gets dodged. She fights out of a chin lock because there was a big leg drop by Nakano. Blayze kicks out.
Crowd is singing USA really loudly.
It's all USA chants because that's all we had in the 90s.
And like right into the hot mic too. That's by the wherever the fuck they have that set up because it's super fucking loud.
It's very loud. We get a Frankensteiner for a 2. High spinning right kick goes the second time, but is caught in a lift choke by Bull Nakano, and then a nasty looking crab by Nakano.
It's a full crab, but it's both legs are tucked on one arm to the side.
She's just so strong.
It's great.
Nakano hits a version of the rampage, like locks in the version of the rampage, right? Or no?
Yes, but she doesn't like hold the arms.
Yeah,
like Paige does it or Saraya does it. But I mean, that's where she got the move. She got it from Bull Nakano.
I mean, we've talked about Saraya / Paige.
She's probably not even alive at this point. Yeah. No, she is, but she's like an infant.
We've talked about Saraya / Paige in this podcast, and the fact that Paige has the greatest set of like names for moves.
Oh, that's great.
Because she had the Paige
Turner, Rampage.
It had so many opportunities. It was really good.
What is the DDT called? I forget.
Oh, me too. Somebody in the comments remind us what the DDT is called.
Yes, the DDT. Yes. But I'm sure it has a sick name. At one point here, Blayze does a roll up after Luna like fails on a distraction for a near fall. And
She
Nakano,
does hit her with a stun gun, so like Luna does a little bit, but
yeah, sure. Nakano immediately grabs the arm after kicking out and is just like, "Yep, Juju Katami."
yeah, like there's not even a chance for the roll up. Like the ref is not even down for the pin yet, and Nakano's like, "Oh fuck that, no, we're doing this instead."
Blaze does three hair clotheslines for near falls, and by hair clotheslines I mean she goes for the clothesline, but instead of the clothesline, she like turns midair, grabs the hair, and brings it down.
It looked like if the person didn't do the spin on the sling blade, like it looks like a sling
Yeah,
blade but with no
pretty
person
much.
spinning. Yeah.
And she does three of those for a near fall. She goes for a power bomb like a dumbass. That's big woman.
What are we doing here?
It's big.
Why are we trying this?
Well, I think that she could hit it, like shoot.
Yes.
Yes,
Shoot for sure.
But it's not happening. In kayfabe, so she ate a back body drop. Blaze does a backslide in the corner for a near fall, and then Bull Nakano decides to commit attempted murder and hits a stack power bomb. Evan, it's like Vader fucking hit this move.
It's nasty. Then Nakano follows up, goes up top, misses the leg drop. Blaze knocks Luna Vachon off the apron, which tries to interfere, gets the bridging German, which looked really impressive, for the win. And again, this type of match can happen in WWF in 1994. What were we doing?
What is going on here? Why were we having mud fights like 4 years later?
Why was the cat champion? What happened? The cat, and not even Battle Cat. Shout out to Battle Cat. So she would lose the belt. Alundra Blayze would lose the belt in Japan. And then 5 months later, Blayze regained the title from Nakano on an edition of Raw. As part of the storyline, immediately following when she was attacked by Bertha Faye. Remember Bertha Faye? Also known as Rhonda Singh, who broke her nose. The storyline was apparently written, according to Bertha Faye, so that Michelli could get time off to get a nose job. So that's also why the broken nose, apparently.
I guess.
Returned to the ring in August 95, lost the Women's Championship to Faye at SummerSlam. 2 months later, won the title again. And then in December, due to the financial troubles of WWF, she was released from her contract and stripped of the title following her jump to WCW. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to look at that jump to WCW. Back from the break, and it's time for the Women's Championship from WWF to go a place it shouldn't be. On December 18th, 1995, we get this promo where Madusa shows up on Nitro.
Unannounced, completely. A year before the Outsiders randomly showed up on Nitro, Madusa decided to jump ship, and so there's just a regular broadcast. They're panned over to the commentary table, which in WCW was like up somewhere.
Is up closer to the entranceway.
Yeah. And I think is that Mondo McMichael?
Mongo McMichael is holding a tiny dog in a sombrero. That is the most important part of this clip. I know that there's historical things happening, but there is a tiny dog with a little sombrero, and it's not a chihuahua. It's just a tiny dog. It's just this little one. And I saw it, and I was like, I fucking love that dog. That dog is a star.
Anyways, he's telling Randy Savage to stay away from the choke slam when Madusa interrupts.
Yeah, just walks in and grabs a mic.
Tells everyone to can it. Introduces herself as Madusa and
people
says
need to bring back can it.
Yeah.
That's a good. It's honestly, if someone can it,
just lock it.
You lock it up.
Cage it. Shut it the fuck down. And she says she's always has been Madusa and always will be Madusa. She points out the WWF World's Women's Champion. Why is it called the World's Women's Championship? Our World's Women's Title, whatever the fuck it's called. Grabs a trash can off the side value. Off the side of the table there. Yeah. That has stuff in it, by the way.
Yeah.
Brings it over to the table, sets it down, grabs the title, drops the title.
A monumental shifting moment in the Monday Night Wars.
She goes, and I quote, and that's what I think of the WWF World's Women's Belt. This is the WCW. I am now in the WCW, and they used to call me Alundra Blayze, but not anymore, because this is where the big boys play, and now this is where the big girls play.
I love that she says in the WCW. Because in WWF, you do say like in the WWF, in the Federation, but it's just in WCW. and it just
Well, I
sounds
know
weird to be
because
like
all the
Heenan.
wrestlers would say the WCW.
It just sounds so weird. It just doesn't seem right. Uh,
Yeah.
Bischoff on commentary is incredulous. This was his fucking idea,
Yeah.
which I
You're the
love.
Booker man.
She later admitted that she regretted the action, would not have done it if Bischoff had not coerced her. Which, like, that's, I love Bischoff's. Oh my god, I had no idea. It's like, you ever heard a piece of gossip about somebody, and then the person tells you later, and you have to pretend that you haven't known for like weeks,
Yeah.
and you're like, wow, really? Oh my god,
Wow.
no, really?
Oh
Now,
my god.
in terms of people who are stunned, Bobby Heenan clearly had no fucking idea this was going to happen.
He's like, oh, someone in Connecticut's probably pissed right now.
Heenan doesn't. You know how hard it is to have Heenan not say a word? Bobby Heenan this whole time is like, oh, what?
What is happening?
What the fuck is going
You
on?
know, deep down, he probably still cares about the Fed.
He's probably like, this is too far. Also, Bobby's like, I feel like he's like a classic guy. He's like, this is too far. Like, this is dirty.
Yeah, he was in the business. He knows what's up.
Yeah. what a hot take by us. Bobby Heenan knows what's up. This
R.I.P. Brain.
This stunt blacklisted Madusa for the WWF for 20 years.
Yeah.
And that's tough to essentially not be able to acknowledge the history of your women's division because of what happened on WCW Nitro one day in December 95. Because she was the heart and soul of the women's division for 2 years, over 2 years. Like, what do you do from there?
You know, it's one of those things where she got coerced. You probably got to give it a shit ton of money to do it. But I do think that after WCW got acquired by WWE, it's a bit excessive to wait until, like, what was it, 2016, 2015? Yeah, like what are we doing here, Vince?
Vince is the pettiest son of a bitch in the world.
He's so fucking petty. It's really annoying. You didn't have to wait 15 goddamn years after the merger in order to get her back in there.
I will say, Alundra Blayze / Madusa's Hall of Fame class, really good. Can you name me any other members of the 2015 WWF Hall of Fame class?
It was 2015?
2015.
No.
So the other solo people were Kevin Nash, Larry Zbyszko, Tatsumi Fujinami, Rikishi, and the headliner was Randy Savage.
Okay, then. That's a great class. I did not remember Fujinami being in the WWF Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And then ignore the fact that, the Bushwhackers were very popular and they had a really long career. I know they're not we're not a work rate tag team, but the Bushwhackers were in there.
This is a hater behavior right here. The Bushwhackers were awesome.
Schwarzenegger was the celebrity and Connor the Crusher got the Warrior Award.
Yes, sir.
That clip of Connor the Crusher punching Triple H and pinning him still makes me tear up. It's so good.
It's awesome. I wish I could have done it.
Whenever people, you would love to punch Triple H, I know. Whenever people lose sight of this, wrestling should also appeal to the kids, because that's all of us who are wrestling fans. We're usually wrestling fans when we were little, and that's why we love it. Just don't get too caught up in everything. Like, wrestling is fun, and it's allowed to be stupid.
Listen, I mean, I guess I'll just spoil part of this now. Like, after I went to Dynamite Rampage last night, and after the main event on Rampage in the taping, I'm not going to spoil anything. Like, actually, no. By this point,
it will come out by the time
it's already been out. So the main event was, oh god, Chris Statlander against Marina Shafir for the TBS title. It was like an open challenge. And after the match, the Best Friends came out, and celebrated. They hugged, all that stuff. And then after that, Tony came out to really talk to the crowd and everything, and stuff. He's like, "Oh, I have a special guest here for you guys." And then he brought out -1. He brought out Brody.
Oh, nice.
Brody. And little Brody, he as he was coming down, he was doing this, oh, cheer for me and stop. And cheer for me and stop. Yeah. And then at the end, he does it, he gets in the ring, they do the Best Friends group hug thing, and it was a really cool moment. This kid's 9-10 years old, however old Brody is at this point. Just lost his father only a couple years ago during a very he's entering a really critical period of time, and the kid clearly fucking loves this shit.
Yeah,
bred
for the business, clearly.
And there were so many kids there, and I was like, this is fucking sick. It's AEW, it's not WWE, where it's geared mostly towards kids for the most part. They want a younger audience, all this other jazz. This is AEW, where literally the main event of Dynamite was a fucking War Games match that was so fucking bloody. It's not even funny.
John
And
Moxley was leaking.
brother, and it didn't stop. I tell you that. And there was some crazy stuff there, which again we'll get to shortly. But like, you know, just to see all the kids there, and they all had a great time. There's a couple kids that were like a little down from where I am, off to the side, but like still in the aisle like seats, so I could see. They were in my line of sight, basically, like just fucking losing their minds. Like when like MJF would do something, they were like, yeah, all this other stuff like that. Like this, it's just fucking cool, you know.
Don't be a dick at wrestling shows. That's the real message here. Like, don't be a dick. Like,
you do your chance. Like, you want to do a holy shit chance or whatever. Like, yeah, cool.
Like,
but like, if you got a kid around you, like, you know, just be mindful. Like, don't
ruin things for kids.
Yes, like, like, don't just think that, oh, cool internet wrestling fan stuff. Like, there's a fucking kid. Just like,
who are you? There's no imaginary points to win in real life. What are you doing?
Yes, we're all here to have fun. This isn't a fucking Reddit thread, you know.
All right, let's talk about Madusa in WCW, our last match here. They established the WCW Women's Championship. Madusa lost to Akira Hokuto in the finals of the tournament to crown the first champion December 29th, 1996. We now move to 1997, the Great American Bash, where Madusa is putting her career on the line against Akira Hokuto's title. Hokuto, the drip. We must dissect.
She came out and I was like, this is crazy.
She's with Sonny Ono, which
she's basically the female version of what the Great Muta would look like.
Correct. Big white jacket, high shoulder pads, a white mask that has like fucking Bane breathing tubes in it.
It's so sick.
A big blonde wig. I was like, this is awesome.
And then she like strips it all off, and it's like, oh, okay.
You're a person. Also, Ono takes a selfie with a disposable camera. I'm like, did Sonny Ono invent the selfie in 1997?
Also, another thing about Hokuto, she's married to Kensuke Sasaki.
Yes, we actually have talked about this because I believe Hokuto showed up in the Manami Toyota episode, and I brought up, I'm like, oh, I didn't know she was married to Kensuke Sasaki, and still is.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. They mentioned that. I was like, what the hell?
I love my random wrestling couples. They're my favorite thing.
Oh,
shout out to Liv Morgan and Bo Dallas.
There's a bunch of them. Carmella and Corey Graves, shout out.
Bo leaving for the rest of us. Madusa comes out with like the full Americana gear. It's Great American Bash. She's got the stars and stripes. Like, she's doing it all. This match is one of my most surprising matches I think I've watched in the last like year.
Why?
In terms of I didn't expect it to have this much heart and story.
Yeah, no, it's a good match. It's a great match. If it wasn't for that 6 women tag, this would be my pick.
Have you ever gone to a movie or a show and you had no idea it was going to be as good as it was, and you just walked out?
Bullet Train. Bullet Train, legitimately one of my it's probably 5th, but it's one of my 5 favorite movies of all time.
Original Kingsman. I was like, holy shit! This movie
I kind of felt it. I could tell from the trailer it was going to be like a kind of like crazy. I didn't
watch a trailer. A friend of mine was just like, "Hey, I want to go to the movies, and I've heard good things about this. Come with me." I was like, "Sure." I looked it up. I was like, "Oh, Samuel L. Jackson's in it. Sick!" And I just went to see it, and I was like, "This is fucking incredible." That's
also the first John Wick. Like, I didn't know anything about the first John Wick because you look at the trailer and you're like, oh, it's just like any other action movie. And then you watch John Wick and you're like, oh, this is like the action movie.
The action movie. But yeah, this match has a ton of heart, a ton of story. And honestly, Madusa is so good in this match.
And she is dressed so American.
So America, yes.
So America. So America.
Early on, choke by Hokuto in the middle of the ring. She does a lot of chokes. That's the whole beginning of the match. She's trying to figure out how to do chokes. She's like
hair
pull, stretch spot through the middle ropes. Hits a massive pile driver.
Yeah, early. And then Madusa like fell under the ropes, so she couldn't even really do anything.
Madusa with running forearm, 2 top rope drop kicks, but Hokuto gets a foot on the ropes with Ono's help.
She also does what kind of looks like a sling blade, but it's not the hair. She just kind of grabs her, like, honestly, like right on the brow, like forehead region, and just like
whips her. Yeah.
She does the same thing, like the twirl where she's like now facing parallel to her and just drops her back.
Hokuto gets a choke and a hair pull to get the advantage. Suplex by Hokuto was really nice with the leg across the throat. Like, she's just trying to figure out ways to get to. She's trying to just choke out Madusa. That's the whole plan.
It's sick.
It is really sick. At one point, Madusa starts getting a little momentum back, does the high kick, lays in with right kicks and spinning left, goes for a suplex and small package, and it was really, really close. The Hakuto
Yeah, it
almost pinned her.
was. They mentioned that Madusa was getting into boxing and stuff like that, and she does some punches in the corner, like the fucking Undertaker, like the Taker, just like
square up and just fucking go. Yeah.
And they look so fucking good.
The jabs especially are really, really crisp. I was like,
just the straight up, like, I was like, damn, girl.
Medusa's throwing hands. Hakuto is
she hits like a gut wrench suplex kind of for a near fall at one point.
Some good stuff. Madusa flips over the turnbuckle. She's getting thrown into the corner, flips over the turnbuckle onto the apron, kick, and goes for a double axe handle. And this is the key moment of the match, because on the way down to the double axe handle, she blows out her knee and immediately is in like writhing in pain. And Hakuto, ruthless, immediately dropping Madusa on her knee, does a surfboard, like just anything she can think of that targets the knee. She switches from the throat to the knee that quick.
And commentary really smartly points out at one point here something that I wouldn't have known, honestly, I don't think most people would have known, which is that Madusa got her knee dislocated like 10 years or something like that before this in a match against Wendy Richter.
Yep. Like they know the hit. I don't know who's on commentary.
It's Tony Schiavone for sure, but I don't know who else is with
it. The guy who keeps pointing out the smart things, I don't know who it is.
Because I don't think it's Brain. It doesn't sound like Brain.
It doesn't sound like it's way too deep of a voice to be Brain.
Yeah.
And so I don't know who it is, but they're crushing it.
Yes, they were really good. And it's just one of those things where I was like, damn, like this is like that. Really this is deep storytelling for a match that's literally in the middle of the card.
Hakuto on the top rope. Madusa hobbles over and gets the head scissors by like just like the handstand flip up.
Yeah, the Trish.
The Trish. That's a good way to call it. And then big powerbomb. Madusa uses all of her energy, hits a powerbomb, but Hakuto kicks out. And Madusa straight up has tears in her eyes because the adrenaline is wearing off. Like she has used all of the energy. We get a superplex by Hakuto. We get a deep knee bar locked in. Madusa does manage to get the German suplex, and so there's hope. And she's got the bridge, but then Ono pulls out her bad leg. And Medusa's this whole time. This is some of the best like facial and emotional selling I've ever seen in a match. Like this is, I genuinely think this is a tremendous performance.
This is an all timer from a performer who, I mean, is spoiler alert. This is it.
Spoiler alert for the end of the match. This kind of is it.
Yeah, Hakuto hits a splash. Madusa gets her legs up. Which was probably, honestly, at that point, just take the splash because she got her legs up. And now she's just writhing in pain because her fucking knee got bumped into again. Running clothesline for a near fall. And then Hakuto just grabs her, hits like I don't even know how to, like a scoop slam pile driver because it's not a flosion. It's not an emerald flosion, so it's not really even that. Which is weird because Hakuto's finisher is a sit-out gut-wrench powerbomb.
But she doesn't. Instead, she does this like quasi-brain buster.
It's like it's basically she does the body slam and then just fucking power drives the woman.
Yeah. It's funny because Wikipedia called it a brain buster. I'm like, it's not a brain buster, but it's also not a brain. Like you do bust the brain. I don't know.
I mean, she landed on her fucking head, but she didn't get there the brain buster route.
Medusa is pinned and her career is over. Medusa does not answer Mean Gene's questions after the match. And the trainer's looking at her knee. Medusa would be away for 2 years, which honestly, in terms of retirements in wrestling, it's a long fucking time. She returned in April of 99 as part of Randy Savage's faction, Team Madness. Oh, yeah. Then she won the WCW World Cruiserweight Championship.
Oh.
Yeah. And Mayhem, she became the first women's wrestler in Mayhem 99 to win she won it at Starrcade of 99, became the first female to win the Cruiserweight Championship, and then got in a rivalry with Oklahoma. So that's where that happened. Oklahoma, for those who don't know.
Oklahoma Mantar.
Ed Ferreira, one of the writers for WCW. Yeah, it was a bad time. Michelli did also become an instructor at the WCW power plant, which is very cool. And she would, later on in her career, she would become a monster truck driver. That's what she does.
I'm sorry, you said fucking what now?
Madusa is a monster truck driver. She actually learned and got into the business in 1999 and is, as of January 08, was the executive vice president of the Major League of Monster Trucks. Yeah, so she became a monster truck driver, which is fucking cool.
That is so sad. That's better than being a fucking wrestler. That's awesome.
We also briefly touched on it, but of course she was inducted into the WWF Hall of Fame in 2015 and was very happy to kind of water under the bridge with the Fed.
I mean, it's really just with Vince.
It's just with Vince. It's with nobody else. What did you think going back and watching the career of Madusa?
Slapped. Absolutely fucking slapped. This was magic. Great. I was, I knew she would have some good matches. I wasn't expecting this high a quality from her. If I'm being honest, my expectations weren't like super high. I figured she's a big name from the 90s. The 90s aren't really, especially in America, weren't really known for wrestling. I know she went overseas and stuff, so I expected her to be a little good, but I would have been like, at best, this woman is like a fucking, I don't know, who's a good hand nowadays. She's like a
Natty?
No, Natty's fucking excellent. What the hell are we talking about here?
I know.
I don't fucking know. For some reason, Sarah Logan's the first one that came to mind. But you know what I mean?
Fair.
Just like someone who is good at wrestling, but like not great. Like a Carmella. She'd be like a Carmella or something like along those lines. And no, she fucking went out. Like I was looking at her here. At one point she does like the Ric Flair corner spot that Charlotte Flair does, where she like flips over the ropes and like gets on the apron and like stands back normally. And I was like, she did that shit so effortlessly, bro. Like you transport that woman in nowadays, like she'd be one of the best wrestlers.
She's someone who can be ported over into like 2023 and would be totally fine.
Yeah, that's such a compliment, I think, to people. Like
she could fucking hang. She would hang with everybody. She could
put in any era. Honestly, any era, 2000s, 2010s, now, fucking 80s, clearly 70s, whenever the fuck. Like she put her in a match against Moolah over in 60s, 70s. I'm pretty sure she would have been fine there. She would have lost, but she would have been fine too.
Everybody lost. Everybody pays a price to Moolah. This was great. I genuinely think if you want in-ring action, watch that 6-woman tag. It was fantastic and a train wreck. If you want a story, watch this title versus career match. It's excellent. It is. If I had to make a list of my most surprising matches on this podcast, this would be on the list of I didn't expect to be that invested in this contest. It's so good. You should like the video if you're watching on YouTube. You should hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube. Also, if you're listening on the podcast and you want extra content, we got drafts, we got Wrestler Revisited, we got Make a Card, Take a Card, we got all that good stuff on the YouTube at Crossbody of Work. Also, hit us up on the socials. Twitter, Instagram, Threads at Crossbody of Work, all those things. Go to Instagram to see all of our fun reels. We're very funny. Javier, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMLO Sports. Do I ever tweet? No. Should you still follow me anyways? Yes.
Just in case. Follow me on Twitter as well at Evan Gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. FullPressShop.com. Cop the merch. Support the boys. Javier showing off the Fresh Prince look right now. FullPressWrestling.com for all the links to all the matches that we've covered. Last week, Pedro Morales. The week before that, Midnight Express. 3 weeks before that, Randy Orton 3-parter. All of those all live on the Full Press Wrestling site, plus other good wrestling coverage. Go and watch it. Go and read it. It's all good stuff.
And up next week.
Yes, Javier is so excited because this is a Javier pick for next week. I will let him introduce who we have next week.
Next week, we get one of my childhood favorites. René Dupree.
There's going to be so many bad French accents next week. I'm not emotionally prepared.
I feel like I nailed that one, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you're fine. It's not going to be good. And the matches are going to be okay. And
you are such a hater. We've got matches from all over. We've got matches, random Canadian matches. I found a match from when this brother was 15 years old over in Canada. I've got the WWE run, obviously. I got some Noah stuff in there because he's over in freaking.
I had no idea he was in Noah. Yeah.
Yeah, literally from I think it's the end of 2022, December of 2022. Their big show that they have over there. He's on it. and he's in this. That we have that match.
One of my goals in life is to get us to interview Rene Dupree so that you can just meet your idol.
Oh, it's like living, because obviously Eddie would have been up there. If,
yeah,
possible. It's literally I'm not even joking. It's probably like John Cena. Then it's like a Batista because I just feel like he's like a vibe. Yeah. And then Renee's up there. Renee might be third, honestly.
We are going to cover Javier's third biggest dream interview next week. We will talk about the career of Rene Dupree, but right now it is time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, you guys are just going to have to sit there and listen to me, fangirl, fanboy, fan whatever, about Dynamite. Because I went to Dynamite / Rampage last night, a.k.a. Blood and Guts.
It was a lot.
It was crazy.
Also, your seats were incredible.
Yeah, my seats were great. It was on the it was like facing the stage, like straight. The stage was straight ahead of me, and somehow I was on like a row, like right above the entryway, like where like you come through, like from the concessions and stuff at the Garden. I was right above it, so like, and we were on an aisle, so like, I didn't have to like do anything, like whatever people, like no one ever really left. There was no one sitting in, like there was no people in front of me. There was just like a glass panel there, and I could see through it really easily. It was really clutch. I got the seats like right when the show was announced, not like Blood and Guts, like literally just when the show that they were coming to the Garden was announced. My buddy and I got tickets.
That's the real life advice, is to get early tickets.
Yes, get your tickets early, because I know after Blood and Guts got announced, those tickets probably fucking skyrocketed. Anyways, so we get there. There's a dark match. It was like Kip Sabian against Serpentico. It lasted like 5-ish minutes. That didn't matter. Then Dynamite started, and I got Hook versus Jack Perry. I got to see my second favorite wrestler in AEW, Hook. And it was, honestly, it was a really good match. But Hook lost. Literally the first match I ever could see Hook fucking wrestle in after, 2 years at this point? He's undefeated 2 years.
You are bad luck for Hook.
And he fucking loses because that piece of shit, Jack Perry, decided to cheat after literally murdering someone in a video package. And I'm coming out to, I think it was Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
He did come out to Beethoven's Fifth, which I did not know. You texted me and you were like, he came out to Beethoven. And I was like, no, he didn't. And then I saw it on Twitter. I was like, son of a bitch. He did.
Beethoven Fifth Symphony. I did see someone say that, like, after Christian turned on Edge, he had the Christian, kind of orchestra type song. So he's like kind of following the line of Christian.
Which is weird because he had so much issue with Christian.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. That's how the cookie crumbles.
You're not a real dad.
After that, there was like a weird 2-minute squash match Britt Baker had against some random person. I don't know if that was televised. I'm assuming it was. And then we got the creme de la creme, the finals of that blind eliminator tournament. MJF and Adam Cole
it was really
versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. It was one of the most entertaining matches I have ever seen.
I really like Sammy and Daniel Garcia,
bro.
As a team, just the dancing. I'm in.
There was a dance battle before the match, and great. Adam Cole was just hip thrusting his life away. I got concerned for his pelvis at one point. That's how hard he was going at it.
Jesus.
MJF as a pseudo babyface is the greatest thing ever. And then after they won, which by the way they won with the double clothesline. I love this. They were so over. I don't know how it came off on TV. They were so fucking incredibly over. Like, it's not even just my section. Like, the entire arena was so loud for those two. It was crazy. AEW, if they blow this tag team thing up after the match, I think they announced it for Collision in 2 weeks or something like that. If they end the story, blow them up, then they're losing money because there's so much money in these two just keeping this going.
I think they are going to pull the trigger faster than we think, or maybe that we want to. Yeah.
But it was really fucking cool. Those two, obviously, and then FTR came out and they had a face-to-face type deal, and it was really funny because MJF and Dax Harwood were ready to throw down.
I genuinely think they do not like each other.
I don't know. I doubt it. I feel like Max doesn't really rub anyone badly backstage because he's not that.
Dax kind of does.
Yeah, maybe, but it was clearly just character work.
They suckered me in.
Yes, and then, it's not even fucking 9 p.m. yet. Like, there's still over an hour left in the show, and the cage starts dropping, and I'm like, oh, this is going a fucking hour. Which it did, at least for me. It went an hour. Claudio has a theme song, and he came up by himself. I don't know if that was shown on TV. It was really long and really awkward. They, played a song, twice, which is weird. Anyways, also, Claudio's massive. It's not the first time I've seen him. It's not even the second time I've seen him, but he's a big boy. And obviously they came out 1-1. When Pac came out, I was like, I thought to myself, this is Pac is probably the wrestler I've seen wrestle the most.
Really?
Because at every WWE show that I've gone to, he was there. Whether it was like a Raw or I went to a Raw, I went to a SmackDown, I went to 2 live events.
Yeah,
and he was at all 4 of those. Not even it would have been Moxley, but Moxley wasn't at all 4 of those. He was only at 2 or 3.
Fair enough.
And then the last Dynamite Rampage show that I went to back in October, Pac was in. He was there too, and then he's here now. So at every wrestling show that I've been to, he's been there.
He's the common thread.
Yeah, he's the common thread. He's my 13th reason. And the match was fucking chaotic, but listen, man, I reached my peak when Kota Ibushi came out. I lost my goddamn mind. I took a video towards the end. It started straying because I just was not paying attention to the video that I was taking anymore. I lost my shit. It was a solid performance by him. I'm not gonna say it's good or great or whatever because he did look really rusty, really green. Because he's wrestled 2 matches since in the last 2 years, and it was those random WrestleMania ones over WrestleMania weekends for GCW. He's fucking insane too. Still, by the way, we'll get to that in a little bit. It was bloody, it was gutty, it was a great fucking match. Again, I don't know how it came off on TV, but it was really fucking good, really fucking awesome. After the match, obviously the cameras were off, I'm assuming at this point, because they didn't show the Kenny promo. They shook their hands. They shook hands. Kenny extended his hand. They shook him. They went their separate ways.
It's over.
It's over between these two. And then as everyone's leaving, as they're getting the elite are getting, Kenny finishes his promo. Goodbye or good night. Bang, or goodbye, kiss, good night, bang, all that jazz, whatever the fuck the order of that is. Kota goes over to the goddamn thumbtacks that were still there, takes a fucking back bump onto the thumbtacks.
Because he's lost his mind.
He just stands there, and then Kenny just goes, why would you do that?
We all have wild card friends. Kota is Kenny's wild card friend. You don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, the Rampage was really cool. The Acclaim came out. I was wearing my "Oh Scissor Me Daddy" T-shirt, and it was a great time. Listen, I just need QT Marshall to go as far away from my TV as possible. It's not even this guy draws heat. I just don't want to see him anymore.
It's
I just don't want to see this individual.
Yeah.
And it was cool seeing Johnny Mundo, Johnny Morrison, Johnny TV, Johnny Elite, whatever the fuck they call him these days. It was cool seeing him, but I'm all set with that whole collective. I'm thankfully, the Acclaimed got the win. There was a Royal Rampage Battle Royal.
Darby
Allin won. Yeah, he eliminated Swerve at the end. Nick Wayne was getting absolutely brutalized. They had basically the entirety. Nick Wayne and Darby were just getting fucked up the whole match. That was literally the story of the match. It's just those two getting beat up all the way to the
purpose.
End. They're like, Nick Wayne didn't even get any offense. He just got eliminated by Swerve towards the end. That was it.
So everyone should go to Dynamite, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Comes to town, go to Dynamite.
No, it's obviously not going to be as special as my experience was because I got fucking blood and guts with Kota Ibushi in it, and I also got to see MJF wrestle. But it was still a fun time. So anyone out here, if you would like to attend an AEW event, you've got my stamp of approval.
Yes, you should also tell us all about it.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience at AEW events, because I missed them when they came to Canada because I had other things I had to do that week.
You're a fucking loser.
Correct. Thank you so much for joining us. We are back next week to talk about Rene Dupree, and Javier's going to have the time of his goddamn life. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Good night. Goodbye. Love y'all.